Welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson. I've had to go through some tremendous pain in my life to get to the point where I'm at now. If you find yourself there right now, I tell you words of wisdom as hang on. But I can tell you that there was this undying cry within my own spirit that knew that I didn't know how to really live this life or live it well. And I can remember the first 30 years of my life were really a living hell. I think many people that would have known me said, gosh, Troy seemed like he's a pretty happy-go-lucky kind of guy. And while that is true, I remember every day being like just ruled by the wiles of my mind. And I could literally talk myself into a bad day and start pointing at everything that was bad. Oh, this is bad. This happened. Oh, yeah, this is going to happen. And it was bad. And it was like every day was a bad day. And it was ridiculous. I was like, I can't even believe that this is happening. In the first 30 years of my life, I can remember one quote unquote perfect good day, if I could even call it perfect. The kind of day where everything seems to go your way and lights are green and everything is awesome and nothing disrupts you and nothing derails you. But almost every single day was a derailment. It was ridiculous. And when I finally realized that I was the one that was stopping myself from being happy, that there was some directive in here that literally was saying no to everything good. And I didn't even know that I could actually say yes to love, to peace, to joy. And and I tell you that because I really desire for each person that hears this and those even beyond that you can actually have every single day be amazing. Now, have I had some trials or tough days in the last 25 years since that time? Yes, but I'll tell you what, they haven't been bad. And it took me about 3 years to rewire my head to decide to let everything go and to be happy, and that I create my own day. It doesn't create my day for me. I get to decide whatever's happening. And if you're like, yeah, well, that sounds real good. And I've tried that, Troy, but it didn't really work. Well, I can tell you that there's still a directive in your head that says your days shall be bad and that you don't deserve to have good days. You don't deserve to have peace and joy and love that's unending. But I tell you what, that voice is a lie. When you cease to have this or quiet this to a very low, dull roar and begin to let go of every thought, you realize, like me, that those thoughts aren't necessarily your friend. When you begin to let go of all thinking and all thought, all of a sudden there's this peace. It's really quite quiet. And that's pretty joyful. And that's pretty nice. And you begin to realize that there's a fair amount of love just underneath all of these superficial, erroneous thoughts that plague your brain. And that underneath is an amazing, vast wellspring of life, of love, of joy. And it's there. It's waiting for it. It's yours. But you actually have to decide for that rather than what your own brain thinks. Now, here's the rub. Love and fear cannot coexist in the same mind. You either get one or the other. And as you deal over and over with letting fear go, love begins to take its place more and more and more. As I've said, the human condition is only capable of two emotions: love and fear. Now, fear grows up, like I've talked about in other videos and podcasts. Fear grows up into all kinds of weird things. If you're afraid you are not enough, you're going to be prideful. If you're afraid that you could be harmed, you're either going to get angry or you're going to get apathetic. If you're afraid that you're wrong and that you're awful and that you're nothing, you're going to be more guilty and more shameful. If you believe that you constantly lack and you live in desire, fear grows up into desiring everything, greed, selfishness. All of that is fear grown up into other ways and other feelings, not emotions, feelings. We have two emotions and we have a ton of negative feelings. But love is encompassed within joy, peace, ecstasy, absolute stillness. I mean, that is some peace beyond imagining. And when you're at that level of peace and nothing can disturb you, and nothing anybody does to you can bother you, you realize how amazingly joyful that place is. When a man cannot be harmed by anyone else, no matter what they do, say, or think, how complete is that man? How harmless is that man too? So if you're out there thinking that everybody has harmed you, you might want to take a good long look at what you really are, not who you are, but what you really are. When all of this becomes still and you cease to let the body rule your world and all of its wants and desires and its lacks and the things that it thinks that it needs, when you begin to handle that and really overtake it, and all of a sudden you realize, I am this depth way beyond the brain and the body. I am life itself. You aren't the absence of life. You are either life and you exist, or you don't exist at all. And if you're listening to this, I can tell you that you exist. And as I've said many a times, this is just a pile of dust and water. It doesn't go with you when you leave this place. And you don't die, you simply move on. And so the body seems to die. The body seems to hurt other bodies and be hurt by other bodies. But that's just in this physical world that is here today, gone tomorrow. But the real you that is eternal, that is life itself, that is part of the infinite, part of God, whatever your word that you use for that, that's comfortable for you, that is what you are. And you cannot be separated from the source, because the source gives its life completely and implicitly and forever. It doesn't Indian give, so to speak. Not even that that's a politically correct term at this point. For any of you that are offended by that, talk to me. We'll talk about it. But with that in mind, life gives infinitely and forever. I got news for you. You are the life. And you were called the life by a very important individual about 2,000 years ago. Let that sink in for a minute and realize that you've put a lot of garbage between you and that life and what you think is going on. And if you want more joy, if you want unlimited peace and love beyond imagining, way more than anything you could experience here, then begin to quiet this thing. Begin to go deep. It's not difficult. It may be confusing in the beginning. If you're having trouble with that, email me, contact me. Love to help you release a lot of that littleness that we tend to hold on to as of any kind of value. It isn't. It really is not valuable at all. So I hope this kind of let you in a little bit into the joy aspect. It's waiting for you. You're literally sitting on a treasure trove. It's been in you this whole time and you've missed it. Don't miss it for another moment. Get it today. You can do this. Again, till next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson.